Today on Rappler.
Hindi mauubusan ng mga bayani ang lahing Pilipino. At kung si Jesse ay isa sa mga naging bunga ng sakripisyo ng aking ama, sigurado po akong maibubunga rin mga bagong bayani ang pagpanaw ni Jesse.
President Benigno Aquino III calls the late Interior Secretary Jesse Robredo an inspiration to a new generation of heroes.
I know he would shy away from excessive praise. He might find all the fuss, pomp, and pageantry a little uncomfortable.
The late secretary, a man for the masses, is laid to rest in a grand burial ceremony in his hometown, Naga. And on the day Robredo is buried, jockeying for the position of Interior Secretary starts. Hello, I'm Chai Hofelenia, sitting in for Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The country lays to rest its Interior and Local Government Secretary, Jesse Robredo. President Benigno Aquino III says Robredo will inspire a generation of heroes, calling him a trailblazer of the Angmatwid, or the straight and narrow path. His wife Lenny says Robredo strove not to get attached to the perks of his public office. Carmela Fonbuena, who is in Naga City, filed this report.
The late Interior and Local Government Secretary Jesse Robredo is laid to rest. He is given a state funeral and conferred the Legion of Honor with the rank of Commander-in-Chief, the highest honors that the President can give without congressional approval. The late Secretary's widow, Lenny, is a picture of strength.
His death was unexpected, and we have to deal with the searing grief of losing him. But I believe that for Jess, it was not tragic, and he was not taken before his time. Maybe for him, it was the perfect end to a life well lived. Jess often told me he felt he would die young. During our moments together, he would always say that between the two of us, he would be the first to go. I never believed him then.
The late Secretary is interred at the Eternal Gardens Memorial Park, but the mourning is not over. With the flurry of events, the Nagueños have not really come to terms with his death.
Masakit po yung anak niyo. Pag yung mga kabutay na hiningi ng sabi niya, sila niya mo nabigay sa akin.
The late Secretary's brother, Butch himself, is not as strong as Lenny.
This outpouring of, it's overwhelming. I really love this one. We are honored. It makes things a lot easier to accept. But still, it doesn't change just going away. So, when you lose a brother, it's really difficult. Mahirap po.
In his eulogy, President Aquino tells Nagueños that Robredo was a big loss to the whole country too. But the President assures everyone Robredo's death will not be in vain. He likens Robredo's death to his father's, the late Senator Benigno Ninoy Aquino.
Naalala ko pa po, ang mga agam-agam namin nang biglaan ding pumanaw ang aking ama noong taong 1983. Marami po sa amin na nagtanong, paano na tayo? Sino ang magtutuloy? Parang ligaw na ligaw po kami. Nawala ang aming pinuno. Pero sabi nga po ng aking ina, and I quote, "If cowardice is infectious, then bravery is all the more infectious." Close quote. Ang nag-iisa, dumadami ng dumadami hanggang nakamit na nga ng buong bayan ang pagbabago. Sa ipinapakitang pagpupugay at pagmamahal ng taong bayan ngayon, sigurado ko, may isang henerasyon na namang ng mga Pilipinong magbibigyang inspirasyon. at mahihimok na maglingkod sa ngalan ni Jesse.
Robredo is going to be a tough act to follow, but all his supporters are asking for right now are leaders who will at least continue what he has started. Carmela Fonbuena, Rappler.
Watch the full video of the President's speech and that of Lenny Robredo on Rappler.com and the stories Aquino to Robredo, mission accomplished, and Lenny Robredo to Jesse, rest well, we love you forever. The late Interior Secretary Jesse Robredo was a man for the masses. Low-key and unassuming, he dressed, acted, and lived like the people he served. Natasha Gutierrez reports.
Chinelas, shorts, and a simple t-shirt. This was the favorite getup of the late Interior and Local Government Secretary Jesse Robredo. When Robredo died, he was among the country's highest-ranking officials. But he returned home every week to his simple life in Naga City, where he was happiest.
Naga has always been his home. He always tells me this is his happy place.
Robredo and his 4 siblings grew up in a simple house in Barangay Tabuco, where his parents still live today. He went to Naga Parochial for grade school, a private Catholic school where he is remembered as one of the role models. During his wake, 5th and 6th graders from the school traveled to the Archbishop's Palace to say goodbye.
The pupils to feel that he was once a parochial boy. And not only that, with all the achievement that he had given, not only here, locally in Naga City for 18 years. Remember, he has been a mayor for 6 terms.
Robredo attended Ateneo de Naga University for high school before going to De La Salle University for college. After graduation, he worked in a top corporation before returning to Naga, inspired by the People Power Revolution. Nagueños elected Robredo mayor of Naga when he was 29. He worked in City Hall for a total of 18 years. Unlike traditional offices, his desk came before his secretaries, so locals could enter freely and speak to him directly. His office stayed simple, unchanged for his 6 terms as mayor.
Down to earth as a mayor. Wala siyang mga area, no? Wala siyang mga cordon sanitaire. Very approachable, but at the same time, very intense sa trabaho niya.
When Robredo became DILG secretary, he maintained his modest lifestyle. He came home on weekends to be with his family, a humble 3-story home in Barangay Dayangdang. He biked everywhere around the city and went to Mass every Sunday at the tiny open-air barangay church 2 streets away, before returning to Malacanang for the week. A true son of Naga, Robredo was a faithful devotee to the Virgin of Peña Francia, the patroness of Bicol. Friends and neighbors remember Robredo as generous and always smiling.
Gorgeous, magalang po siya. Magalang siya sa mga bata, magalang siya sa matanda. Mabait. Kung anong sobra sa kanila, binibigay dito sa amin. Palagi yan nagsisimba. Hindi yan pumapalpak. Kahit mayor pa yan.
His burial is a stark contrast to his life, fancy and grand.
I know he would shy away from excessive praise. He might find all the fuss, pomp, and pageantry a little uncomfortable.
But in the words of his wife, it is a fitting celebration to a life well lived.
When the body bag carrying his remains was opened before my eyes, I was not at all surprised to see that he was wearing his DILG uniform. When Jess was still mayor of Naga, we both worked hard in making sure that the children will not feel any sense of entitlement.
Naga's favorite son stayed humble despite his accomplishments. To many Filipinos, a life worth emulating. Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, Naga City.
Vice President Judicial Binay backs some names rumored to be the next head of the Department of the Interior and Local Government. These include Executive Secretary Paquito Ochoa Jr., Manila Mayor Alfredo Lim, and Davao Vice Mayor Rodrigo Duterte. President Benigno Aquino III appointed Ochoa officer in charge of the DILG following the late Interior Secretary Jesse Robredo's death. Binay says local government procedures are not new to Ochoa, who worked in Quezon City before joining Malacanang. Binay adds he is no longer interested in the post, even if he expressed interest at the start of the Aquino administration. Since Robredo's death on August 18, there is speculation the rivalry between the Balay and Samar factions of the administration has been renewed. The Balay faction is identified with Transportation Secretary Mar Rojas, Binay's vice presidential rival, in 2010. The Samar faction is linked to Binay. Reports say the Balay faction and the ruling Liberal Party are pushing for either Cavite Representative Joseph Emilio Jun Abaya, former Isabela Governor Grace Padaca, Duterte, and Lim to bag the post. The operator of the plane that crashed off Masbate on August 18 is asking regulators to allow its flight school to operate again. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines suspended Aviatur's licenses while a probe is conducted into the crash that killed company CEO Captain Jesup Bahinting, his student Nepalese Kshitij Chand, and Interior Secretary Jesse Robredo. The company says the suspension order affects over 100 pilot trainees and instructors. This is not the first time that Aviatur's flight school was suspended. CAP also suspended its school license after a plane crash in Camiguin on March 4, 2012, which killed 2 people. Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno says the Supreme Court must return to the dignified days of silence when its justices were heard and read through their readings. Sereno issues his statement following media requests for interview. She was named to the position on August 24. Sereno's move is the opposite of her predecessor's actions, dismissed Chief Justice Renato Corona, who granted interviews after he was sworn in May 2010 and during his impeachment trial. UP Professor Theodore Te criticized Corona, saying opinions given outside court proceedings may be misconstrued by the public. Sereno says the court needs to be shielded from the susceptibility of misinterpretation because it should be carefully balanced in making its decisions. She says if the Supreme Court is to return to its golden days, then the Chief Justice must respectfully decline all these well-meaning requests for interview. Philippine Airlines orders 54 Airbus aircraft worth $7 billion in the first phase of the company's refleeting and modernization plans. PAL Chairman Lucio Tan says the purchase will play a key role in revitalizing the airline and growing trade and tourism in the Philippines. The refleeting plans, which involve the purchase of up to 100 new planes, are meant to reduce fuel and operating costs. PAL President Ramon Ang says the company is capable of shouldering the expenses thanks to the capital he infused in the business. PAL recently announces a net income of 489 million pesos in April to June. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 3, Apple's $1 billion victory over Samsung in a patent court case will affect smartphone users. If you own a Samsung phone in the US, note this. There are 8 banned phones including 4 Galaxy S2 models, Galaxy S Showcase, Droid Charge, and Galaxy Prevail. A CNN report says customers who own the devices don't need to worry that anyone will take their phones away, but expect software updates that tweak how they look and work, such as changes in the zoom. The verdict could also affect all smartphone titans. Apple can go on to sue Google and its phone partners. If you own a Samsung tablet, the ruling won't impact your phone. The jury ruled that Samsung's Galaxy Tab tablets did not infringe on Apple's designed patents for the iPad. At number 6, Australian Foreign Minister Bob Carr says, live with China's checkbook diplomacy because that is now a fact of life. Carr is referring to China's efforts to gain support in the Pacific region in a seeming contest with Taiwan for diplomatic influence. He cites some $600 million in soft loans to nations such as Tonga, Samoa, and the Cook Island. The China-Taiwan rivalry saw some Pacific nations constantly change allegiance between Taipei and Beijing in return for increased aid. At number 9, the Bank of Canada is introducing new 100 Canadian dollar bills, but the draft images are earning flack for being racist. Business Week reports the first image on the bill was criticized for featuring an Asian woman looking into a microscope, saying this reinforces the stereotype that Asians excel in science. When the bank released the bill, this time with a new image of a Caucasian woman, the Chinese group said minorities were not represented. The central bank finally says in a statement it will not be redesigning the note, but apologizes to those who were offended. And at number 10, Singer Jennifer Lopez and International Monetary Fund Managing Director Christine Lagarde topped Forbes magazine's list of most powerful female philanthropists in 2012. Forbes says the list comes from a survey of powerful women who donated millions of dollars, helped international humanitarian organizations, and raised consciousness and cash for causes they value. The list also includes Angelina Jolie of the Jolie Pitt Foundation. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. That's Rappler's newscast for today, Tuesday, August 28, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter. I'm Chai Hofilenia. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.